Welcome and hopefully welcome back. We are here again with Ervin BluePrint Parker, and we're thrilled to have him, honored and thrilled again to have him with us. This is the third part of a three-part series where first part we introduced him, he told some of his great stories. Second part, we went through principles 1 through 5 of his 10 principles for success of the BluePrint Leadership Academy. And today we're going to go through principles 6 through 10 with some great stories from his life, which is a great life story, peppered in between those to illustrate those principles. Thanks so much for being here with us again, BluePrint.
I want to thank both of y'all for having me here. It's been a blast. I've been really enjoying myself. It's actually kind of make me look at myself, you know, because I didn't discuss some of those things in like over, 40 years?
Wow.
It's been a while.
Well,
yeah, so I'm excited. And thanks for being here with me.
We're so glad that you discussed them with us and that we have them on camera here. That's fantastic for posterity. So 40 years down the road, folks will be able to hear and get some of these words of wisdom. And we should say, just found out that Steve Williams, our friend of the library, is putting together a book on the top 25 famous Georgetonians, and you are in that list. You're in the top 25 of Georgetown County residents of all time. That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
I'm honored. Actually, it's 24, and I'm number 24.
Okay.
And I'm very honored what Steve is doing. And matter of fact, I was talking to one of my sisters about it. She says, well, I'm reading one of his books now. And looking forward to meeting him next week.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Y'all will have plenty to talk about because he's an interesting one, and you're certainly an interesting one as well. As you're both full of stories.
I'm the blueprint.
You're the blueprint, and you give us the blueprint for success, and that's not how you got the name, as we know. You got it from putting that blueprint when you hit the opposing players on the football field, but just like that, you've taken that blueprint from football and transformed it into all other aspects of life.
Yes.
Blueprint for success, and that's what you're trying to share with us.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, you know. It's not about me, it's about what can I do to uplift somebody's life or impact their life.
Yeah, and we've gone through, last time we went through the first 5 principles of success, and you started with attitude, which is sort of the building block. Attitude, if you don't have that, you're in trouble, but that's the foundation. Then respect, honesty, faith, courage. Those are the 5 that we started with. And now we're going to go on to principle number 6, which is self-esteem. Knowing you are valuable and worthwhile to this world, you have something unique to offer. Self-esteem, knowing you are valuable and worthwhile to this world, you have something unique to offer. Could you say something about that?
I think there's so many young men and young ladies, especially now with the pandemic and everything going on, a lot of people don't think that they're worthy. You know, but from the time you was created in your mom's womb, you was here for a purpose. And I just had a good conversation with a young man yesterday, and he was saying, well, I don't know if I'm college material. I says, how you mean you don't know if you're college material? He said, well, I'm gonna be going to this big university, University of South Carolina, and I'm gonna be around all these people and, from all over the world, and I'd never really, been nowhere before. I said, listen, the same way that you come to this Y and work out and you go swimming, and the same way you go to your practice here now in Georgetown, that's the same way you're gonna do at the University of South Carolina. There's just gonna be more people from different parts of the world. But always remember, they're no better than you. I don't care where they came from, what they look like, they're no better than you. Don't put nobody ahead of you. The only person you put ahead of you, like I used to say, and my mom used to say, is Jesus. Everybody else, hey, I'm gonna be you know, just right there at the end of the race when it's time to finish, because I'm not going to be lacking with self-esteem. I'm going to know that I am worthy.
And so having that sense of, a basic sense of self-worth, and that, you know, you go into different situations, and, you know, going away to college, big school, especially from coming from, like you did, from a smaller place, Georgetown, rural Georgetown County, little Georgetown County, you know, that can be a daunting thing, a frightening thing. But so you got to go in with the right attitude and knowing that you have something to offer.
Well, you know, when I look back at it, if I didn't have what you call, you know, that self-worth and knowing that I was worthy, what I've told Coach Jeffrey, that listen, if you're going to redshirt me, then I'm going on the road to university, because they're going to give me a chance to show you what I could do. And if you're going to redshirt me, but if I was lack of that self-esteem and that confidence in myself, I would have never spoke out.
Yeah. And it's,
you know, I would have said, hey, this is the legendary Coach Willie Jeffrey. Whatever he says, go. But hey, we dealing with my life. So, you know, little things like that, it makes a big difference, because I would have probably gotten redshirt 9 out of 10, you know.
And it's knowing, you know, it's not a false sense of yourself. You got to know who you are.
Exactly.
If you weren't good enough to start, that wouldn't have been a conversation you would have been having.
Don't give me nothing. I'm gonna earn it.
So you knew, but you were confident in your abilities. You knew you were good enough that you didn't need to redshirt, and so to redshirt would have been a waste. It would have been the wrong thing to do for you then. You knew you had that sense of an accurate, clear-sighted sense of your own self-worth.
Absolutely.
And so you spoke up for it, and just like the young man you were talking to, I don't know if I'm college material, you are. You practice.
Exactly.
You practice just like you practice going to the gym. You'll do that at university. Do your work, go to class, do the things you're supposed to do. You'll be college material.
Absolutely. Gotta earn it.
So earning it, yeah. But knowing, having that sense of yourself, knowing who you are, and then you put it into practice. So that's really important. You got to work for it, but you also have to know who you are and that you're valuable. Practice may not make perfect. There, as you said, there's only one person that we know of that's been perfect, as your mom said. So we're not going to get there, but it's a pretty good place to try to aim.
You're going to make some mistake along the way, but you just got to keep moving.
All right. So that's principle number 6, self-esteem. How about this? And all these principles kind of build on each other, as we've seen. You know, starting with attitude and moving on up. So self-esteem, and then I think this one builds on self-esteem. Principle number 7, self-determination. Knowing what you want and need to do and working until it is completed. So knowing what you want and need to do and working until it's completed.
Well, that's like anything that you start. I believe that, number one, if you're not going to do it 100% plus, then don't start it. So, and you got to work on certain aspects of your life to move forward. And, you know, that's what's going to take you down the road when you're dealing with some harder times in life. You know, because you're not going to give up. Because if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And if you don't deal with some adversity, that's not going to help you to build the character that you need to move forward in life. So it's all about, I'm going to deal with the stress issues that comes up, but I'm not going to walk away from, I'm not going to quit what I've started. And I want to, you know, work on what I need to work on to put the pieces of this puzzle together to make it work.
Yeah.
And that gets rough for a lot of kids along the way.
It's tough out there, and you can see why kids get discouraged, and adults, anyone can get discouraged. But the principle, and we're on up here, this is number 7, but self-determination, you can't quit.
You know, I've never quit anything in my life. And everybody in my family are the same way. All my sisters and brothers. I mean, it's kind of like the way we were raised. And you know, I used to always want to hang out with the people who were making A's. You know, even in high school, elementary school, you know, I want to find out who's making the best grades, and I want to hang out with them. You know, and that's just the way I was. And even when it came down to dating a young lady when I was in college, I mean, if she can't help me with my work, I mean, if me and her both struggling, you got two struggling people together, you know, that's not going to be too good. Because I was in the library, you know, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I was in the library, you know, sign in the library, sign out of the library. So I wanted to make sure that I put myself around people that could help me to be better.
Yeah.
And I didn't never put myself down. You know, no situation. Just like it's like anything in life. You know, you're going to have people that wants the same thing you want. So you're going to give it up to them, or you're going to fight for it. It's basically working on the things you need to continue to work on to help you to be the best you can be. Yeah. And don't ever quit.
And don't quit. You might find something out about yourself. You will find something out about yourself.
Don't ever quit.
That toughness. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Not the other way around. That's
one of the things me and my son have a problem with. As soon as it starts getting rough, he wants to quit. And I said, I don't know, you sure we got the right baby?
Well, you know, and I know that's, you know, I feel like that is, it might be a generational thing.
Oh, yeah,
I know my
big time.
generation, you know, Generation X, that was kind of, you know, if at first you don't succeed, well, quit. You know, that was kind of just forget about it. It's not worth it. And I know previous generations, it was, no, you keep going. If it's worth doing, you do it.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's a generational thing. And I think one of the things I think is a big issue there is because all these young men and young ladies now, they got the iPhone. And it's like, they don't have a lot of self-confidence because they're communicating with the iPhone. They're on the iPhone texting, you know, and it's kind of like your brain is programmed to interact with people, not necessarily an iPhone. And so a lot of people, young men and young ladies, you know, that's like when my son was living with me. I mean, there's a certain amount of time you got to watch TV. There's a certain amount of time you got to play on your video games. And then we got to have some social time, you know, because we need to develop social skills.
Yeah, and so much of that, you know, there's good things about technology and iPhones, but there's also, you know, kids today, it is so much of their self is in that phone. It's like it becomes that self instead of having to deal with people face to face. They just kind of invent a self on that iPhone, and that becomes who they think they are.
You know, and I go to schools and I go to different places and speak all the time, and one of the biggest things that me and some of the instructors or some of the people talk about, the parents, is the young man or the young lady focusing. They have a problem focusing. You know, it's like, wow. Yeah. You know, I can't focus without this iPhone. I can't do this work without this iPhone. So I think that we need to, and in reality, we're being controlled by that iPhone.
Yeah, who's in charge?
I was at a dinner the other evening, and I looked around, and everybody that was there, except me and the two people that were with me, they were on their iPhone. They were not having no conversation. Yeah. I don't care if it was a man and a female, or a husband and wife, you know. They was like, looked up at each other. I'm serious. We was looking around and was like, so, you know, we said, let's see how many people in here put their iPhone down and communicate. And we found one older couple that was not on the iPhone. Yeah. Yeah. It was over at Roots, matter of fact. I believe it.
That's, you know, are we working those phones or the phones working us? I mean, who's in charge there? It's a little scary, and you know, and sometimes we're not. I know I'm not the best model because, you know, I'm sitting there looking at it. It's not a good thing interacting with people face to face. It's something growing up. you didn't have all that tech. You're
right.
I mean, and so it forced you to have interactions. I say forced, but you had interactions with your family.
Absolutely.
And you had a big family, and you probably sat down for dinner and talked to each other. And I mean, that's something that we're getting less and less of.
And had a certain time that we ate dinner. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like you eat when you feel like eating. No, this is what time we're going to sit down. The only person that ate when he feel like eating was our father. He was the only one that was not on no schedule.
and today it's people bring. That is a rule in our house: no phones at the table. You got to put them away. But it's a tough thing that we're getting controlled by the phones, not the other way around. Yeah. Yes. And that's not self-determination. That's the opposite of that. All right. So something, another complication to that self-determination, but if you can do it, determine yourself. If it's worth doing, don't quit. Work until you get it completed. How about principle number 8, accountability? Accountability, doing what you say, even when you don't want to, and accepting responsibility for what you have done.
Well, that is a big topic right now, like with teenagers especially, and older people. I mean, I deal with people that are much older that they're not accountable for the things they say, what they do. It's like they have no self-accountability about doing what they supposed to be, where they're supposed to be, do what they're supposed to do. And if if I'm supposed to meet you or I'm supposed to be somewhere, you're going to know if I'm going to be late. Okay? And I just had some work done at my house, and I was very unhappy, to work on my driveway. And the guy, kind of screwed it up a bit. And but I hired him. I went on his word that he knew what he was doing. And I met with him afterward. I said, if you didn't know what you were doing, if you needed some money, I would have just gave you some money rather than have you screw up. Now I had got another guy I had to straighten it out. Because there's no way in the world I'm going to tell you that I could do something and I know I can't do it, but then I'm going to do it and practice it, as I do it. So I think that people, especially parents, you need to hold your son and daughter more accountable for their actions, the things they do. And believe me, you're going to help develop them to be stronger young men and young ladies later on in life. They're going to be, a little upset at you more than usual. But like most people need to understand, I'm not trying to be your friend. I want to be your parent. Because once you get to that point where you're more concerned about if your son or daughter is happy with you because you're letting them get away with stuff and not holding them accountable, it's going to come back and bite them. And then when it bites them, you're going to say, that's my fault. Yeah. I see it right now, and with one of my nephews, he's been, and he's like 41 now. I said, wow. So, you got to be more accountable with some of the things that you say and do. And every time that you fall, I'm going to let you lay there for a while.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you lay there and get up. Maybe get up on your own.
You better believe it.
At least try.
You better believe it.
And that's something, with your football background, being when you played as middle linebacker, maybe particularly, you're kind of you're accountable for your own actions, but you're kind of accountable for other people too on that. You're sort of the captain of the defense.
Making sure they're in the right spot. Calling the defense, making adjustments.
Yeah.
So it's just like anything else in life. I mean, people, and you guys probably know it too, because sometimes people just say things just to hear themselves talk. And you say, I wonder why they just lying to me for no reason. I know some people like that. I said, I can't believe they just telling me a lie, but for no reason.
Yeah.
So I just keep that, I said, okay, I got to go now, but I'll talk to you later. You be blessed.
Getting that attention or something is going on there. They want
something is going on.
Getting attention, not being accountable to who they really are or to the situation. But that's crucial, and it kind of keeps people on the right path, focused and on the right path if they're accountable. If there's no accountability, it's just all over the place.
Yeah, you got, especially in sports, you got to be accountable for preparing yourself to be the best player you could possibly be by taking care of yourself, your health, your conditioning, certain things you put in your body, certain things you don't, getting your proper sleep. Yeah. You have an obligation to your teammates, and they were just talking about a young man that's playing with the Lakers, and they said, he's out in California, maybe he's not taking care of himself, in the off seasons because he's always hurt during the season.
Yeah.
So, I'm quite sure he's going to look at what he's doing and hold himself more accountable because you got a team, you got 4 other guys that's on the floor with you that's depending on you.
It's not just about yourself, it's accountability to others. It's,
right.
Yeah, and having that self-discipline, but it connects with being part of a team, and even if it's not a sports team anymore, it's being accountable to your family, to your school, to your community. There's so many other levels.
Well, if your son or your daughter see that you're not accountable with the things that you say or the things that you're supposed to do, they're going to start being just like you. They're going to say, well, my mama doesn't do that. My daddy doesn't brush his teeth in the morning. Why should I brush my teeth?
Yeah.
I'm saying, especially young people, because most of them want to be, young men want to be like their father. Young ladies want to be like their mother. So just like I tell people all the time, it's a certain way you got to carry yourself and hold yourself accountable. Because if you don't, it affects the young man or the young lady later on in life.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's a big one. Self-esteem, self-determination, and then accountability, really holding that self to account and to account to others. And then that way, they'll be accountable. You can't expect someone to be accountable to you if you're not accountable to them.
And
so it raises the
exactly.
standard.
And I look at my sisters and my brothers, and and all of them are married, but it's not like all of my sisters have careers. They all have a career that they retired from, and they didn't necessarily need a man to take care of their livelihoods. They were independent women. And my brother, he's, and so that was the way we were raised. And, and my dad used to always tell them, you don't want to depend on no man for your livelihood. If y'all married, y'all do things together, you have, certain things you do together, and, but you don't want that person you got to depend on that person.
Yeah.
And I got somebody in my family that's a little different. He wants the woman to depend on him. He wants them to need him every month or every 2 weeks to pay their bills. I don't want those kind of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want a woman that, I don't mind if I need to help you and we're dating or whatever, fine. But I don't want a person to depend on me.
Yeah.
I won't, because when you depend on somebody else, you have low self-esteem, number one.
That's right.
And it goes in some other areas in your life which is not good.
Yeah, so relationships too, for sure.
Big time.
And both being independent, and that's the way you can be kind of equal partners and share.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so accountability, principle number 8. And how about this? And we only have 2 left, but we're kind of building up to these last 2. Principle number 9, education. Learning skills that will make you successful, the biggest investment you will make in your life. We might expect that to come earlier, but it's, I think you have these all in a special order. We're getting all these things about getting the self in order and the attitude right and everything. And then principle number 9, education, learning skills that will make you successful, the biggest investment you will make in your life.
Well, I mean, that's a fact, because if you don't have a certain level of education, certain kinds of college degrees or trade, you're going to struggle. And even if you have a PhD, a master's, a BA, associate degree, or if you have certain trades, it's going to get hard at times. So I tell people all the time, the biggest investment is not in the house or a car. The biggest investment is in you preparing yourself to succeed down the road and be able to go out and buy a $250, $150, $300,000 house when you and your wife get married. You and your husband, you know, if you get married to the man that you're married, and if you married a guy that owed Uncle Sam a bunch of money and they got bad credit, what do you think you and he's going to do with you? He's going to mess your credit up. So I tell my nieces that all the time. I have some nieces that are very professional women and they're single. And I certain things I tell them to ask the man. Because if he answers these things wrong, then you need to keep it moving, you know? And that's just, you know, if you're a certain age in your life and you don't have certain things, there's a reason why. You know, there's a reason why.
Something might be missing principles 1 through 8, maybe.
And you know what? I don't care. Nobody say, it don't matter how old you are, if you're lacking certain principles in your life, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the truth. I mean, because I tell them all the time, I says, hey, you want a Cadillac Escalade, you know, you want the nice house in the gated community, then you got to, you know, put some time into your education. That's a priority.
The car, you know, a car will break down. You'll have to get rid of it eventually. The house will need repairs. You're talking about investing in skills that are going to last you a lifetime, so that when adversity hits, you got those skills through that education.
You know, I look at my life, and I have a degree in industrial engineering. I never had to use my degree. Because of certain things that I did in life. I knew that playing football was going to come to an end. So the whole time I was playing football, I was building my network and what I want to do. And I was looking ahead. And then I pretty much deferred most of my money where I, you know, because I said, well, I only need 4 game check. And the rest of it, I'm deferred. You know, and then I set it up where when I turned 40, I start getting 4 different checks every month off what I did, you know, before.
Yeah.
Because for number one, I wasn't used to no money, okay? So I remember one time I got a check. I got this check, you know, and this check is like $20,000. I said, wow, I'm making 20 grand a week, you know? And so I go to the bank, and the teller, she goes, oh, you play with the Buffalo Bills? I said, yeah. And she goes, whoa, this is a big check. And so I said to myself, I figured out what it was going to cost me, you know, from September to January. And I said, I only take 4 game check and defer the rest of my money. And then when I get through, I'm going to sit down with a financial person, my financial people, and find out what can I do to help secure me for the future. Yeah.
So having that, being educated, educating yourself, having that skill set and going and getting a financial advisor who could, you know, whatever you didn't have in terms of the full picture of that skill set, you can kind of help supplement. And so you educated yourself, though. You got yourself, and so, you know, I mean, so many, you can imagine being, you know, 21 years old and getting money thrown at you. Of course, you know, a lot of 21-year-olds are they're gonna have every fancy car they can get their hands on. They're gonna be, every penny that comes in, it's gonna go right back out.
You know,
and so that's having that discipline and that education to be able to, that level, to know that's not smart. Come in, come out. You got to save some, defer it. That was
my second year. Okay, I was getting a free car because I was doing some work with a car dealership. I bought 1 car. Okay, I never had 2 cars that I owned. One of them was a dealership car. One of them was my car. Yeah. You know, and I see some of the guys have 5 or 6 cars. I said, man, what are you doing all these cars? Wow, I want this, man, I want that. I said, you can only drive 1. Because I used to always remember my dad used to always say that. You can only drive 1. Yeah. So, you know, And right now today, I have 2 cars, you know, and that's it. I'm not trying to buy no more cars no time soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, you know, it's an important lesson no matter what field somebody out there might go into or might be in, you know, is that having some sense of your future, educating yourself, those skills, they're more important. That really was more important than what you were doing on the football field, because you were thinking ahead to your life after football, not just right then and there, because nobody plays football forever. So,
you know, just like I've been approached, and I shared it with Heather about doing a Monday Night Football show out in Las Vegas, because, you know, I used to go to Las Vegas quite a bit, and I have quite a few friends that's up in high level with different casinos. And, you know, like Mr. Wynn, I know him. The Bellagio people, I know them. And Mandalay Bay, I know those people. My ex-girlfriend used to be the head of public relations there. And so, you know, I was on the phone. And they said, you know, you need to put together a football show out here. And da-da-da-da-da. So then I'm praying about it, because I said, do I want to be around all that hustle and bustle? You know, it's like, it's so much other things I could be doing instead of devoting myself to every Monday night or every Friday being in Las Vegas and preparing for a Monday Night Football show, because you have to do things on Saturday to give people information that's who you think gonna win the game on Sunday,
right.
And then, you know, and then the Monday. So it's not just a Monday night show. It would be taken up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I said to myself, I've been praying about it, and I said, I don't think that's for me right now. Yeah. And I think that after talking to Steve, I think I'm gonna help him promote the book instead.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want to do. And I was talking to him about that. He said, hey, I think that's a great idea. So that's what I'm gonna do instead of doing the Monday Night Football show.
Yeah, that sounds, so a balance, instead of going for the glitz and the glamour, which, I mean, sounds really attractive, Las Vegas and all that.
Been there and done that.
Been there and done that. The more grounded decision sounds like, you know, and, you know, that should be a great book. So you'll have to come back with Steve, and we'll do a segment for the library, because when that comes out, because that would be terrific. I know, now, I imagine most of the folks in there have passed on, because it's throughout the history.
Yeah, there's only 4 people still alive.
Okay, so we'll try to get in touch with the 4, but we'll definitely have you and Steve Williams for that segment. But that would be terrific. So education is crucial, and you know, it's another thing. Education without 1 through 8 doesn't do you much good. If you're just educated, and it's important, but if that's all you have and you don't have self-esteem or self-determination or accountability or the right attitude, that's why, I mean, I think it's so important that it's number 9, because you need all those other things to be in order, and then education comes into play.
That's very true. That's very true. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, and after I got out of football, my lifestyle hadn't changed. You know, and a lot of people that I know that play ball, they're struggling, and their life is, you know, because they didn't prepare themselves for, you know, later on. Yeah. You know, and so I tell people all the time, what you do now is going to affect your future. You know, and I tell these young people, young men and young ladies, I said, what you do now is going to affect your future. You know, your Social Security number, like my Coach Jeffrey used to say, you got your own Social Security number and I got mine.
That's good. Yeah, Coach Willie Jeffries, classic coach, and he was your coach starting off at South Carolina State, where you were an All-American, and but so you had that. And another thing that's threaded through all your stories, you listen to others. You have you have ears to hear. You have your listening ears on, and you're able to pick up from good role models things that you can kind of integrate in your own experience, in your own life. So you're always looking for that. from others. And this might be a good segue into principle number 10, which we finally get to. Blueprint Leadership Academy, it's leadership. It's not number one. We don't you don't start out just being a leader out of nowhere. You build up through these 9 principles to leadership, and certainly Coach Jeffries was a great leader, and you were on the field as well, and now off the field. Principle 10, leadership, showing others the way by possessing and modeling the principles of success. So that's leadership, showing others the way by possessing and modeling the principles of success.
Well, my thing is, like I tell people all the time, and when I've done a lot of speaking engagement, and I've never had to write down nothing. I never wrote down one word as of yet. I have a gift from God to relate or to talk to people about whatever the topic that I think we need to discuss. I was doing a graduation over at the Georgetown Marine Institution across the bridge over there at AMI. That's what they changed the name now. And my sister, Liza, was going to be introducing me. And we're sitting on the stage like we are here, and people are coming in, and she leans over, she says, "What are you going to talk about?" I said, "I don't know yet." She says, "You don't know yet?" She said, "I'm getting ready to introduce you in like 5 minutes." She said, "You don't?" I said, "Don't worry. God never fails me. Believe me."
Wow.
And so I'm looking at the people coming in, you know, and I see this young man, you know, got on this T-shirt, you know, and the T-shirt says, "Changing people's lives." So that's what I spoke about. And so when you look at the leadership has to be a person that's you don't become a leader by just talking. A leader is a person that you replica by seeing what that person do, the way that person carried himself. You know, a leader is a person that puts not himself ahead of everybody else, but put people at a level to help them with their lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem. And so many people now don't love self-love. You got to love yourself first. And I've talked to so many young ladies and young men, especially young ladies, that they think that they're not pretty. I said, "Well, you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see?" They said, "Oh, I don't like my nose. I said, "Listen, God created you. You're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. So remember, you know," I says, "Hey, one day you're going to be in front of a classroom, maybe going, you know, be an astronaut. I've talked to a lot of them that wants to be doctors, and you know what's the best thing that I've seen that what I've accomplished from Blueprint Leadership Academy? This November the 30th, I'm sorry, of this year, will make 20 years the Blueprint Leadership Academy has been in existence here in Georgetown. And I'm always getting a text or email from some young man or some young lady or running into somebody that says, "Mr. Blueprint, I just want to thank you for being there for me. You've helped to impact my life. I'm a mother and a wife, and I have 3 kids, and I talk about you almost every week." And you know, those are the things that you want to put into people's lives, and that's a part of leadership. Because I never put myself, even with all 14 people that work with me with Blueprint Leadership Academy. You can interview anybody, just like what Steve was telling me. He said, "I've interviewed a lot of people about you." He said, you're well loved. I said, "Really?" He said, "Well, everybody didn't love Jesus. Everybody don't love me." He said, "But I'm just telling you straight up, people tell me, if you're going to do that book and you ain't got Blueprint in it, you don't need to do that book." So I tell people all the time, being a leader don't happen overnight. And that's one of the things that I thank my mom and dad for, especially my dad. My dad says, "I didn't raise you to follow nobody. Only person that you want to be like is Jesus Christ." Okay? And he said, "If you get in some trouble, I'm going to let you stay where you go. But if you get yourself in some trouble, you know, then I got your back. But if you let some other people get you into trouble by following them, I'm going to let you stay there for a while." And so I tell people all the time, I says the quality of a good person, of a good athlete, it don't start on a football field. It starts within yourself. Are you going to be able to do the work that's necessary to help you to be the best you could be? And that's basically where it starts at, with you.
Yeah. And it's not about telling people. Sometimes we think of a leader as, telling people do this, do that,
no.
all that. That's not your definition at all.
No, that's those are people that they're hooked on authority.
Yeah.
What you call, I'm the boss, and this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
No, that's not the kind of leader I'm talking about.
You're talking about putting, not words, but putting it into actions, modeling the right behavior, and it's 1 through 9, those principles, putting them into practice, and then that, and to help other people. It's not about being a good leader; it's helping other people realize their potential. It's not.
Oh, without a doubt.
Not about you.
I just lost my roommate. His funeral is tomorrow. He was a roommate when he was a rookie in Buffalo. He came after me, and he was a linebacker. And he was from a little small town, Saginaw Valley, Saginaw in Detroit, and Eugene. And it was amazing because it hit me so much this week of Tuesday, and I just felt like I had to go in, show some emotion. So I went out to the Carvers Bay. They were practicing, and I ran to the head coach, and he said, "Man, you seem a little down today." I said, "Yeah, my buddy, I just found out that Eugene Marv died." He says, "Really?" I said, "But you know what about Eugene is, it's kind of like he gave me some words that I want to say to your team." He said, "Let me get them together." So he got them all together, and he told them that, what happened, and I told the guys, and I told them, when you come out here, you take a lot of pride in the things that you're doing, the things you're saying, and you don't just come out here and go through the motion. You come out here to be better than you was yesterday, and you get yourself in the best shape, mentally, physically, spiritually. And I said, you watch films and don't cheat yourself. And y'all hold each other accountable. That's what good teammates do. Hold each other accountable. I said, like Eugene, he was telling me I was working him too hard. But, as he got older, he realized, from going from that level to this level is a big difference. And so, they just did their little break, they call it, the team, but I just had to let that out, and it seemed like I wanted to pass that on, and he's young, he's much younger than me, he's gone,
Yeah. Nothing's guaranteed, so you have to live each day, according to, this would be a good thing, these 10 principles, and living to the fullest. And also you're always saying that you're just kind of ready for an opportunity to, I take a lot of notes here. Right. I'm all prepared, but you do the opposite. You're just kind of ready to go, and you don't get over tense about it. You can take things in stride. You have your feet under you at all times. So if adversity comes, you can handle that, and God will give you the words if you have a speech to give. So there's kind of that, you have that level of self-esteem and self-determination that you're okay no matter what comes.
Yeah, I just look at this week. Getting the phone call from Steve, and when I talked to Heather, I was kind of a little excited about doing this Monday Night Football thing. Heather probably, detect that on the phone. Yeah. But then when I look at it, I said, I'm not ready to open that curtain back up again. I think I'm going to just, and so after I called Steve, I said, well, God, what do you want me to do? And so all of a sudden I get a call from Steve, and we just had such a good conversation. And I said, there's ways that I can help him to promote this book to get some national attention. And we just clicked, and man, he was just, it was like he was an angel. It's like he was an angel that came to me.
and that phrasing, it's so much easier to hear it than to actually put it into action. But one door closes, another door opens. But that it doesn't feel that way most of the time to most of us. That door gets slammed shut in our face, and we're angry, we're bitter, we get the wrong attitude. We just keep staring at the door and banging on that same old door instead of noticing the the door around the side that's come open, but that's what you're describing. One door, you're willing to let that door shut, and here's another door that's turns out it's even better.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to go out for the Vegas. I have access to some condos out there, and I'm going to go out and stay out for about 2 weeks and catch a couple of Monday night football game, and you know, and then I'm ready to come back. You know, because every time I go to Vegas, I'm there like maybe at the most 10 days, and I'm ready to come back to the woods, the country. Yeah. I'm serious. I'm like ready to get out of here, man. So I'm going to go out and do that and, you know, meet with some of my buddies out there and have some fun and go see the Raiders' new stadium.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know the owner there, and, you know, but that's not for me.
Yeah. So
not for me.
And that's knowing yourself and knowing your self-worth and self-esteem, self-determination. You weren't, if you were going to go out there, you were going to see the thing through, and it's not right for you.
Exactly.
So you know. So the accountable decision is to say no. And then you can then put all that energy and that focus into helping with Steve Williams' book, and that should be a great thing. And,
oh yeah, he was just so humble. After talking to him for about 30, 40 minutes, it seemed like we've known each other for a long time.
Yes.
And, you know, and it's amazing because he was supposed to be going to get surgery next week, and I sent him an email, and I said, you know, I really enjoyed talking to you the next day, and I said, I'll keep you in prayer for your surgery and everything next week. He says, guess what? I don't have to have surgery again. Oh. They told me that I'm good to go.
You're good to go. Great.
I said, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things, yeah. There's, and having that sense of, and this has been a theme throughout your life and your stories, that it's things that look difficult and dark. You could take a dark view and say, why is my life so hard? Yeah. Why have I had it so rough? But you're always looking for the positives. And that's something that goes to that principle number one, attitude. Yeah. That if you're always looking for the good in things, then you'll find it. And it keeps building and building up. The positives keep building. Yeah. That the blessings. Instead of looking at the negatives, always look for the blessings.
That is very true. That is very true.
And that's what you've kind of given us. And so looking for the light, for sure. Following that light. And that's ultimately, that's where we get to leadership, and that's what you're looking for once you kind of get yourself settled and right in 1 through 9, and then good leadership is looking for the light in other people and helping them kind of shine a light.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think that it's so important that you, just like when I told a coach, I said, you got a bunch of people out here that don't really know what they're talking about, and they're giving information to these guys, and they're confusing them because they got one guy's telling them this today, then another guy come tomorrow, he's telling them. I said, you got to be careful who you have out here on the sideline that's talking to these kids, especially when you're trying to develop their skills and giving them information, you know. And he said, you know, I never looked at it like that. I says, believe me. You got 10, 12 coaches on the sideline. That's too many coaches.
Too many cooks.
And you only got like 26 ball players. Can you imagine? You got 26 players, 12 coaches. Everybody know what they think they know what they're talking about.
They're all experts, right?
It was like, so I tell them, I said, you know, deal with these principles. And then, you know, the principles for me, I was just talking to Pastor Chip up here at Teen Challenge. He said, hey, bud, you know, and he's been doing Teen Challenge now for 41 years. He says, I need you. I got a bunch of new kids up here. Well, not kids, they're grown men. He said, I got a bunch of people up here. I need you to come on up here and do them principles for them and get them kind of shape them up, you know. And I've been working with him now for years, and we have such a good relationship. And every young man, well, not young because they got older ones, some of them are 50-something years old, but every person that I have worked with up there over the years, it's kind of like we had a special bond. Because once I get to introduce me, I get them to introduce themselves. And I said, I want to know something about you that everybody don't know. That's going to help you to be a better person doing it while you're going through this rehabilitation program. because this is a 12 months to 14 months program. So there are going to be a lot of times that you're going to want to quit.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you quit, you're going back to what brought you here in the first place. So remember that. So you got to find something that's going to keep you here, and that's what Pastor Chip said. That's when you come to these scriptures and believing that you got to be better. And the one thing you got to take, and you got to digest this starting the day if you haven't, you're not here for other people. You're here for you. Because when you think that you are here getting the treatment for other people, it's easier to quit. But if you do it for yourself, you know, you can hang in there. Because when you leave here, you're going to be a much better person. And you know, when I go to some of their graduations, man, and they give me a big hug, they said, oh, man, you just don't know how much you've been such a inspiration to me and listening to you. And, hey, but that's why God put me here, to use me to do things like, you know, the things that I do. Like what Pastor Chip says, but I can't even pay you enough for what you do. And then, you know, when I go up there, he disappears. He take a day off. You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, he might be there when I first get there, but most of the time when I get there, he know what time I'm gonna be there. He know I'm gonna feed them and everything. And he just disappeared. He said, I'm gonna spend some time with my wife and my daughter and my son, and my little grand. So, but that's the kind of relationship we have, because you're talking about being committed. He's there 7 days a week. Yeah, wow. 365 days a year. Yeah. Okay? He lives up there. You know, and he's been doing it for 41 years. Wow. He's like Mr. Dunn out of Tower Hall. You know, they're not doing Tower Hall right now. And then that's something they need to bring back. You know, they got some kind of academy program, but they ain't got no kids. You know? Mr. Dunn said this has been the hardest year of his life. You know, not being able to have no kids to work with. Yep.
Well, those, yeah, both great programs, and you're involved in with those, and we really appreciate you coming and doing this with us. That was
I've really enjoyed it. You guys are good at what you do, and keep on doing it.
And we should give, you mentioned Heather Pelham behind the camera. She never gets on this side, though she should. But she's wonderful working the video, and she does the editing and all things involved with this to make us look even
better than we do.
Even better than we normally would.
Well, let me tell you something. Heather is what you call, she's such a special person. You know, I've known her for several years now, and she is just, I mean, when she's not at the Y at 8 or either 7:45 to teach her class, and some of the people come in, and if she's not there, they be like, I said, what's wrong? Oh, Heather's not here today. I'm serious, she brings so much energy, you know, and love, and you could tell that she enjoys what she's doing. So Heather, I want to thank you for taking your time. You're a special person, and don't change.
And that's probably a fitting way to end this this final segment, because it's Ervin BluePrint Parker praising other people, Pastor Chip and Mr. Dunn and Heather Pelham, and not himself, even though, you know, so modeling the principle of good leadership, always shining light on other people and not himself. But I hope, you know, I think folks out there realize how much you've done for the community and why you're such a treasure. I know they have, because Steve Williams has put you in the book.
Just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started, and that's good news. That's the good news, and we will definitely.
I want to thank you
love
too
to have
for
you
your
back.
time.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
We loved having you. Thank you so much, and thank y'all for watching. And this is Ervin BluePrint Parker, and we will have him back again. So have a great day.
Thank you for taking your time out to watch.
Yes.